Good evening, happy Sunday. This is Rwanda Television News coming live to you from Kigali, Rwanda. We'll begin with the headlines. Some of those who went through the bad history of the genocide against the Tutsi urged the youth to learn from the courage and hard work of the RPA during the liberation struggle that also brought an end to the genocide against the Tutsi. Healthcare providers point out that based on the reforms that are being made in the healthcare system in Rwanda, the country's goal to become a center of medical tourism will certainly be achieved soon. On the international scene, no group has yet reclaimed the responsibility for a suicide bombing on Sunday in the Turkish capital. The attack in Ankara came hours before parliament was scheduled to reopen after a recess. I am Olive Nete. It's so wonderful to have your company tonight. Now to the news in details. Some of those who went through the bad history of the genocide against the Tutsi urged the youth to learn from the courage and hard work of the RPA during the liberation struggle that also brought an end to the genocide against the Tutsi. We have details with Adam Squizera.
Mugunga Alfred, a 70-year-old man who is among the Rwandans that were expelled from their home country, which was done by the first government led by Gregor Kayibanda, which was mainly characterized by divisionism and nepotism at that time. It wasn't very easy for us to flee by that time, since we took a long time looking for the place to reside. Therefore, for us we fled to Bugesera, whereby others fled to Uganda and DRC. Later after, they promised us to come back to the country, but literally what they wanted was to kill us, since they packed us in a truck and threw many of our people in Nyabarongo River. In the exile, they were constantly looking for ways to join forces to stop mismanagement and repatriate back to their motherland. For us, we had it just like that, because we lived in Burundi, where the campaign started in Uganda. Thereby they organized themselves, that's why they reached on us, and we got more information about that. And that's why we went with them, hence to liberate ourselves and come back to Rwanda. October 1st, 1990. October 1st, 2023, 33 years ago. The former RPF forces started the struggle to liberate Rwanda, with the goal of stopping the persecution, expulsion, and killings against those who disagreed with the divisionist regime of Juvenal Habyarimana. That struggle was also aimed at bringing back to their homes the refugees who fled in various neighboring countries that borders Rwanda. After these years, the residents of Rwanda affirm that progress the country has achieved are the fruits from the frontliners of the liberation struggle. These are mysterious acts and focused mind, since that this place was the center of where they generated ideas to liberate the country, which was done by our president, and to the fact that he is keeping to lead us in a good way. Literally, it signifies that all things can be possible once we are dedicated as youth. That's why RPF during liberation struggle had only two goals, one of uniting Rwandans and teaching the Rwandan to get committed in building his or her own country. That's why we see nowadays in different parts of the country, residents taking their lead in supporting the government in constructing their roads as a legacy they get from RPF Inkotanyi. One of those who were at the front line of the liberation struggle, retired General James Kabarebe, who is now the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs and Regional Cooperation, points out that the goal of liberating the country that they started with has continued to be the legacy of building the nation. That brave heart comes from the long-term teachings that were given by His Excellency while he was leading the struggle, whereas he always reminded us that RPF is a basis of the development of this country. Plus to that, we don't have to be the same as this we were fighting against. So that heart we had, as in Inkotanyi, is one that made this country be the country again, through even various programs, such as Ndi Umunyarwanda, not even disregarding the ones that were still there. Since 1994, there were even no institutions. October 1st, 1990 is an unforgettable date in the history of Rwanda, since it became the foundation of happiness and long-lasting hope for a new Rwanda, for RPF Inkotanyi as a party, and RPA Inkotanyi as an army group that saved Rwanda. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the report. Now, the members of the Executive Council of the African Union who are on a 3-day retreat in Kigali state that there is need to enhance the implementation of the AU's Agenda for 2063. Adams Kwizera continues.
Agenda 2063 was adopted by the 24th session of the African Union Assembly of the Heads of State and Government in Addis Ababa in January 2015. This agenda embodies the aspiration of the African people framed in a collective ambition, thus the Africa we want, in 2063. This agenda is literally operationalized through 5 10-year implementation plans, with the first plan straddling 2014 to 2023. However, there are things that have already been done that are even appreciated by the members of the Executive Council of the African Union, as reiterated by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, who officially inaugurated this 3-day retreat.
This retreat comes at a very opportune time, enabling us to engage in collective brainstorming and to renew our commitment to monitoring the continental priorities of Agenda 2063. The African Union Agenda 2063, serving as Africa's blueprint for socio-economic development, has demonstrated commendable progress in its first 10 years of implementation. Substantive advancements have been made to improve road network connectivity, single African air transport market, electrification, access to ICT, gender equality, the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, to name but a few.
The participants of this ministerial retreat are also looking on how to increase the spark in the speed leading this continent in that direction, which needs a political will for the member countries, as pointed out by the Deputy Chairperson for the African Union Commission, Dr. Monique Tsanzabaganwa.
Also here to engage and attain strategic guidance from Your Excellencies on the outcomes of this special project. This is truly critical, as it is key to harnessing political will and commitment, including resourcing of the second 10-year implementation plan, also attaining commitment to jointly implement and report on the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the United Nations Agenda 2030, in other words, through the efficient approach of one framework, 2 agendas.
This 3-day ministerial retreat brought together the ministers in charge of foreign affairs, ministers in charge of finance and development planning, PRC members, ambassadors, AUC leadership, heads of AU organs such as Technical Working Group on Agenda 2063, and relevant stakeholders in private sector and civil society. Adams Kwizera, RTV News.
Now to other matters, some residents of Gasabo district appreciated the activities of youth volunteers. These youth volunteers determined to cooperate in solving some of the challenges that hinder the development and welfare of their communities. Adams Kwizera once more.
On the national level, the village of Tigarama, Jal sector, Gasabo district, is where the activities of the youth volunteers have been launched, which are going to take a month across the country. Today's activities were focused on tracing water paths for the rainwater which affects the residents in this village. Various youth in Gasabo district says that volunteering has become their goal, as noted by the coordinator of youth volunteer in Gasabo district. We are even dedicated to increase the number of youth volunteers, since currently we have over 100,000 youth volunteers in Gasabo district. We seem to be very few compared to the youth that are in this district. That's why we want them to participate in such activities, hence to gain something as we do. There will be various activities that will be done accordingly to the location of different places. The Director General of Community Mobilization and Youth Volunteers Coordination in Community Policing at Minalok, Kubana Richard, points out that the government institutions will support the activities of these youth as well. These youth volunteers are eligible to dig that pit or build a house, but later they may fail to get the roofings to complete that house. That's why the district administration will appear to provide the support to these youth. The Ministry of Local Governments says that this month, these youth will participate in various activities which are worth of 300 million Rwandan francs.
Now to health matters, healthcare providers point out that based on the reforms that are being made in the healthcare system in Rwanda, all with the aim of building the capacity of workers and finding the necessary tools to be used to provide better health services, the country's goal to become a center of medical tourism will certainly be achieved soon. Follow the details. Across the country, the renovations of existing hospital buildings is ongoing, and in different parts of the city of Kigali, new buildings are noticed and others are being upgraded, all of which will be used in providing medical services. It is not only establishing modern infrastructures, but also there are specialized equipment with advanced technology used to provide medical services that were not available in the country before. Dr. Augustine Sendegeya, the Chief of Medical Operations at King Faisal Hospital, points out that what is being done is reducing the number of those who used to seek medical care abroad.
There were three main causes to send people outside to seek health services outside. The first one was around the kidney transplant, because we have patients who have what we call end-stage or chronic kidney diseases. So we have started that service from May 2023. The second main cause of sending people outside was the cardiovascular disease. So people who needed cardiac surgery interventions, we have started that service as well. Number three is our patients, cancer patients. So, and we are developing also those services. There are three main objectives. Number one is to build the health professionals' capacity. So we have initiated some local programs for training, but also there are people who are going outside to get those skills. Number two is infrastructure. Number three is about the equipment. So we are acquiring some equipments that will help us to develop those services, and we think with those three objectives, the number of patients who go outside to seek specialized services will decrease.
Infrastructures being established includes international medical facilities and factories such as BioNTech, which will manufacture vaccines, and as of now, the first modular vaccine factory containers, known as biocontainers, are already in Rwanda. There's also a center known as IRCAD Africa that is about to open, which will be located in Masaka, as well as other international centers that specialize in this field of medicine. The buildings under construction will focus on high-quality medical care. Engineer Francine Mutesi, the manager of Medical Technology Division at Rwanda Biomedical Center, points out that these facilities meet international standards.
We've been using international standards to improve our hospitals. And this is in terms of IPC, which is infection prevention control strategies. We've been using international guidelines to improve on patient flow, to ensure that hospitals are equipped with the latest technologies. We are improving on waste management systems for hospitals to ensure that solid and wastewater treatment plants are well functioning. We are also improving on automated laundry services for hospitals, sterilization systems, so that all our hospitals are smart but also safe for the patients. The intent is to have to improve the patient experience, whereby if a patient comes to the hospital, they do not feel sad, but they feel comfortable, they feel well received, and they...
Currently, medical services in Rwanda are being attended by foreigners. This is Simuraya Mihimo John from the DRC, who insists that the specialized services and equipment seen in Rwanda are among the reasons he came for treatment.
Equipments found here assist us a lot. This is among the reasons why we come here for treatment, because they treat us well.
According to Dr. Devin Shuti, the Chief of Medical Operations at Legacy Clinics, and Dr. Augustine Sendegeya, Chief Medical Officer at King Faisal Hospital, improvements currently seen in the healthcare system in Rwanda gives confidence that in the future, the number of people seeking healthcare services in the country will increase.
For example, the number of those coming for treatment from various countries such as Uganda, Burundi, DRC and Tanzania seeking the services is increasing. We treat them, and if there are others, then the number keeps on increasing.
The areas that we are sending patients, I think neighboring countries or other African countries are doing the same. So we are getting some requests from those countries asking us if they can send patients here. As I said, it's a journey, but I think by developing the human capacity, the infrastructure and the equipment, we are developing them not only for Rwandans, but also for the regions and to be a center of excellence in terms of medical tourism. It's a journey, but I think we are on the right track.
Engineer Francine also points out that establishing such international specialized healthcare centers in Rwanda is not only beneficial to the population of the country, but to Africa as well.
So IRCAD is a training facility for surgeons on non-invasive surgery techniques. And this knowledge is dispensed in a few places all over the world. In Africa, this will be the only place where they can get this training. So it is important because not only our surgeons in Rwanda will be trained to be their best, but we will also train African surgeons, and these lessons learned will be practiced in hospitals. And we expect to also improve our operating theaters to be able to meet the requirements of these doctors.
Rwanda has set a goal of becoming a center for medical tourism in order to deal with challenges in the healthcare system threatening the development of the African continent, and this is also in the context of improving the development of the country in general.